call. Roll call, please.
Roll call. Chair G. Wade Wooten.
Present.
Mr. Charles Brown.
Charles H. Brown, present.
Mr. Hunter Thomas.
Present.
A quorum is present.
Okay, looking at the agenda for today's Finance and Investments Committee, I see that there's no old business, so we'll just move on to the new business, which is the review and receipt and discussion as appropriate of the minutes from the June 15th committee meeting. I'm pulling them up myself right now.
I don't have a physical copy. I've asked for a hard copy, but it's difficult for me with this phone to keep up with it. So, and I wasn't at the last meeting, so
Yeah.
I'm asking probably, Hunter, you probably do most of the motions, and Wade, you can second, because I wasn't at the last meeting. Sorry.
Yeah, Chuck, there was, it sounds like they sent to you via paper packet, the
Hard copy?
yeah, hard copy, but then there was a recent update that they sent an email supplemented it.
I see. Well, wait, there's been several requests that I've made, and I'm not sure why, but either by mail, I did receive packets by mail 2 months ago, or by courier, or by staff. So I'm not sure, and I made that request to staff as well as consultants, and I know that some of the recordings said that I received it, but I haven't.
Mr. Brown,
Yes, ma'am.
this is Naj. So
Oh, okay. Yes, ma'am.
how are you? When we were in a position at the time, we were getting the information together at a much quicker pace, and we had
Yes,
enough
ma'am.
time. We had enough lead time, basically, to either mail it to you. Unfortunately, with all the construction on your street, that's not an option of dropping it off. And so what's happened, like I got the report on yesterday, and I don't know if you because I know you weren't at the last meeting, but Byron is actually going through an audit for the organization. So we've been having to prioritize things. But as soon as we get back on track with getting all the materials ready well in advance to mail you a copy, we will do that. Okay.
So I do note that the minutes for the last meeting, there were no votes taken. It was really more just informational reporting. So that said, is there a motion to accept the minutes?
I move to accept the minutes.
Is there a second? I probably will second because Chuck wasn't there. Any discussion before we put it up for a vote?
None here.
Okay, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Chuck, are you abstaining? Chuck?
Mr. Brown, you're on mute.
We still can't hear you, Chuck. So that said, I think, oh wait, Chuck, you
Why?
there?
Can you hear me, Wade?
Yes.
Okay. Somebody muted me for some reason or another, but in any case, my vote was for acceptance.
Okay, great. Thank you. So then, it's accepted via unanimous vote. So rolling to, I guess Byron's going to provide an update with regard to the ongoing annual audit.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Wooten, and good afternoon, committee members. So as it relates to the audit, it is still ongoing. I don't have anything material to report at this time, besides the fact that the auditors are still working through their review process. They're going through their quality control checks and escalations through their senior managers and partners at the firm. I have been, myself and my team, working with them to provide the requested items and answers they have that's coming out of those reviews. I don't have a time frame yet on the preliminary financials, but I am meeting with them this afternoon to kind of discuss some of the open items and just open questions. And so hopefully they can provide a timeline or a time frame on that. And so I'll provide the committee with an update as soon as I have info from them. Any questions?
None on my part.
Looks like you're on mute. Wait.
Wade.
I apologize. Byron, quick question. We requested an extension. I can't remember what the extension's through.
Yeah, we did a 30-day extension.
Okay.
So it's through the end of this month.
Okay.
So it's getting pretty tight. So I'll once I meet with them, we'll see where we're at.
I mean, does the rule specify whether we could request an additional extension, or you just don't
Yes.
know?
So the extensions can be out to 90 days.
Okay.
So we just did it 30 days, but we still have 60 days.
Okay.
What's that?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is that it on the?
Hey, Byron, you ready?
Sorry, Naz, go ahead.
Was that it on the audit?
That's it.
status
That's it on the audit.
update?
There's no questions.
Okay.
And then Byron, it looks like the fourth
Okay.
agenda item is presentation on the financial dashboards.
Yep. So I will start with the market update, as I normally do, and then move on to the financial status report. Naj, if you can advance to the market update page 4. So, as it relates to the market, the economy still, there's still strong momentum. But, as we were talking earlier, there's a lot of, the market's keeping an eye on the spread of this Delta variant. And so, any signs of decrease in vaccine effectiveness or increase in the spread of that virus could definitely drive volatility going forward. There actually was a flight to quality yesterday where bond prices went up due to just some scariness in the market as it relates to the increase in cases. So the market's keeping an eye on that. As it relates to inflation, it's been the big talk lately. There's been an uptick, sort of CPI jump about 5.4% year over year. Despite that increase, the Fed leaders seem to think that it's still transitory and it's kind of temporary and it'll normalize over time. Because a lot of the increases, like in used cars and hotel and airline fares, that makes up about 60%. It's 10% of the CPI, but it makes up 6% of the price increase. So they seem to think that that's going to be temporary, but they're keeping an eye on that. As it relates to rates in the market, treasuries and munis in that space, they moved down, as well as mortgage-backed securities and mortgage rates. The 10-year treasury dropped 13 basis points to 1.3. The 10-year muni moved down 5 basis points. And then the mortgages, which typically tracks the 10-year treasury, also moved lower as well.
Wow.
Yep. And then on the local front, the Orleans Parish unemployment rate was relatively, the most recent rate published is relatively unchanged. So that rate, which is 11.2 in May, was 11.1 in April. So pretty much the same, but still a significant improvement from the 20% that it was last year at this time. So And then as it relates to the stimulus from the city, the latest that I've heard is that they're conducting, I guess, working with a data firm to try to get the residents or communities input, and also maybe pull out some social media data to try to gauge what the residents want to do with these funds. So I don't have any details yet on that, but I know they have engaged a data company to try to assess that information. Any questions on the market update?
I might ask a question that Wade normally asks, and that is, what is the threshold that of the three rates that you just described that we would have to look forward to it being in order to create a spread large enough for us to do a bond issue? The reason I'm asking for that is because you just launched the Green Mortgage Program, and I don't know, from that's one source. Our mortgage revenue bond issue would be one source. And maybe you can give me an update on maybe what other, like the Louisiana Housing Finance Agency, does it have a bond issue that we might be able to marry with our Green Mortgage Program?
Yeah, well, typically we have up to 1.25 in spread. Right now, that spread is roughly around 30 basis points. In terms of going into the bond market, right now, we made the decision to just start with the production on the Green Mortgage Program and build that production up, because if we go straight into the bond market, we do have to have some reserves in place. We may have to have some backstop with that as well. So there's some capital outlay in going straight into the bond market. So we thought it would be ideal to just start with the TBA market and then build production up. And so that's probably maybe a couple of months or maybe a year out in terms of going into the bond market. Now, we are looking at conduit issuances and working with developers who are wanting to issue bonds through us. We do have some in the pipeline right now. So you'll be seeing some of those projects come through soon. So in terms of LHC, I'm not sure if they're in the market just yet. I don't know, Damon, if you have any insight on that, but I don't think they're in the market just yet.
Yeah, they have they've done a few issuances and try to get back in the market. A lot of HFAs were out of the market for a number of years because of the recession, and it was double time for us with Katrina and the recession. So Byron, laid it out perfectly. We have to get our volume back up. We need to put some other capital to the side so that we can make the mortgage program as robust as possible. But the good news, Mr. Brown, is we are getting into the bond market in other areas like multifamily and green infrastructure eventually.
That's good. So then to marry the Green Mortgage Program and launching that, I'm looking at an applicant and they wanting to take advantage of the tremendous product that you produced in terms of resiliency. How might an individual take advantage of that Green Mortgage Program and marry that with a mortgage where they can make their home resilient?
Well, the Green Mortgage Program, as we talked about at the last meeting, it just launched. So it was more of a soft launch. So we did activate the program officially, like getting the rates going every day, getting the lenders up and running and trained. So we're doing some of those foundational infrastructure needs, and we're working with a list of homeowners that we've come across over the last couple of years of developing this program to be the first users of the program. So we're
Yes.
expecting to close our first mortgage within the next 45 to 60 days. And that will be the first green mortgage. And then once we get a handle on how that process is going to look from A to Z in real time, then we're going to make a larger announcement to the community. But in the meantime, we could please send that information to Naj, send it directly to Naj, and Naj is going to share that with the program operations team. And they're going to reach out to the individual to put them on that list of early users, because it's an ongoing list. You know, we find people through referrals in the community in different ways. So if you do, and this is to the other board members, if you have people that you know of that are interested and will benefit from the program, send them our way, and we'll start communicating with them about this green mortgage product.
So the lenders will be the originators in effect of the green mortgage program once the person makes the application. And I think that's great. That's great. I just didn't understand exactly once they made that application, where the proceeds, where the mortgage is. Would it be an in-house mortgage offered by the lender, or would it be as I said, a marriage between another agency like the LPFA that might have a bond issue that they can marry with it? That was my question, and maybe I'm not making sense, but if I'm an applicant, I come in, go to your lender, the various lenders we have, the 13 lenders that we have, place application for the green mortgage program, want to take advantage and make my property resilient. The lender makes the origination of the mortgage, which is great. And we provide the benefits that we have here for green mortgage assistance. I'm wondering where the underwriting, the bank make the mortgage, does the bank lend that out to other agencies that might have low interest opportunity for that person? And I'm just trying to go through a sequence so I can at least be able to be knowledgeable about what happens once the person makes the application.
Yeah, Mr. Brown, to get into a little more detail about the TBA program. So the TBA mortgage market, that's the conventional market that the banks that are a part of our program, that's where they do their mortgages. And so in the post-recession environment, the housing finance agencies started moving towards the TBA market because the tax exempt bond market dried up for a number of years. So the TBA market became, for a little while, the primary method of originating mortgages for HFAs. So it's a little different than the tax exempt bond process. But what our financial advisor is working on, Kane Mitter, they're working on merging those two processes.
Yes.
So when Byron was talking earlier about getting the volume up on the TBA program, as we originate mortgages in that TBA program, the two things that happen. We have a number of financial advisors that help us through this process, but the two primary things that happen are that we have a mortgage trading operation in the form of an investment bank behind us. And as we originate mortgages through our lenders, those that mortgage trading operation, they go out and find investors to buy those mortgages from us right away. So we don't, so in the TBA program, we don't hold any mortgages on our balance sheet. However, we get the option to hold on to those mortgages for future inclusion into a bond issue. But before we can start holding on to those mortgages, we have to get our volume up substantially so that we are a safe enough counterparty in order for those other financial institutions to package our mortgages into bond issues. So it's really a capacity thing right now, but the TBA market is a good evolution because it gives us an alternative to the tax exempt bond market, which is still a valuable tool for us. It's just that we have to work our way back into the bond market. And then there's some entry costs too. There's some fees that we're gonna have to pay, cost of issuance, as you know, to get
Yep.
back into the market. And then also, Byron mentioned reserve capital. There may be a need in the future for us to put up reserve capital so that we can lend to certain credit score ranges, or that we can make more second mortgages, down payment assistance loans in certain neighborhoods, so that we can increase home ownership in low income areas. So, it's a multitude of strategies that we're going to have to take on.
Yes,
But the HFA program, as you know it, a lot of those basic components are still consistent, but there's some new elements that are evolving out of our creation of this green mortgage. So we're just going to have to build it as we go, but the volume is the most important thing right now.
very good. Thank you for the explanation, Mr. ED.
Yeah,
You're
and
welcome,
just
Mr. Bond.
and just to add to that too, the TBA market allows us, given the current market dynamics, allows us to leverage the premiums in the market to assist with providing these incentives and down payment assistance. So.
Mhm.
All right. There's no other questions or comments. I'll move to the financial status report.
Thank you.
Yeah, these next two pages are the just the kind of the numbers and the graphical depiction of what I've discussed in terms of rates. Now, if you can move to page 7. All right, so this provides the year-to-date look at our revenues and expenses. You'll see revenues came in at 82,000 as of May year-to-date to a budget of 167,000. So we have a 86,000 miss there, primarily driven by that multifamily income line. And as I mentioned earlier, we do have several projects in the pipeline, several that are in underwriting right now. So there's potential or possibility for that line definitely to increase as we move through the year. And then on the expense side, expenses year to date came in at 770,000 to a budget of 928. So we still have favorability there to budget, mainly across most of the expense categories, driven by the technology services line. Next page. All right, so this shows our 13-month trending on our revenues and expenses. On the revenue side, you'll see we're trending within average. Same on the expense side, a slight increase, but that's kind of timing of invoices driven by the salary and benefits lines. There was an increase there, but overall, just trending within average. Next page. Balance sheet, nothing major to report. The composition remains the same given the minimal activity here. So we can move to page 10. All right, so this takes a year-to-date look at our pathways portfolio, revenues, which are general, mainly interest income. All right, 1,000, and then we have our ongoing expenses related to our properties. Year to date, we're at 21,000 there. And then finally, we have our cash and cash equivalents, which is at 10.2 year to date, or at the end of May. And that is roughly 113,000 less than the prior month, which was 10.3. Any questions on financial status?
None for me.
None.
None here.
right, well, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Myron.
Thank you.
And maybe the last agenda item. Damon, anything from you before we adjourn?
Nothing major to add at the moment. A few things to put on your agenda. We talked about this last month. Our Resilient New Orleans plan, you approved that in May, along with the strategic plan. So we're gonna start pumping that out to the community very soon. Visiting conferences, different events, one-on-one sessions, hosting our own events. You're gonna see a number of marketing type events come from us in the next few months. And then also fundraising. Byron mentioned the capital that we need for the different programs. You saw a status report on how much we have, that very last slide. Well, in order to accomplish this big goal that we have, the $1 billion impact, we're gonna need to bring some more capital internally. So our quest for capital to finance single family programs, down payment assistance, credit enhancement for multifamily bonds, credit enhancement for green infrastructure projects. There's a variety of needs that the community has on the bonding side, as well as we need some startup capital to finance our goals. So we are in the process of preparing ask and having a number of conversations with bond investors, insurance companies. There's some new players in the market because of the climate resilience factor. So we're just preparing for the opportunity, and I think we have a great opportunity ahead of us to bring in some capital that will allow us to scale up this vision that we have. So I just wanted to put that on your radar to let you know that's what we're working on behind the scenes, and we'll keep updating you as things become more relevant. But going out towards 2022, we want to start answering some of these questions and putting our information out to the community so we can make some of our partnerships official. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Vivi, is there anything we as board members can do to assist you in your efforts, the tremendous efforts that you are moving forward with and making these items a reality?
Thank you, Mr. Brown. It's really helpful. Number one, you said something earlier. If you know people in the community that would benefit from the programs, that's a great way to start. So any homeowners out there, potential homeowners that could use a green mortgage or is interested in a green mortgage, send them our way and we'll talk to them. And then secondly, any introductions that you may have from your respective professional fields. So we have different parts or dynamics to our new business model, including the traditional muni bond aspect, which we just spent a lot of time talking about. But the climate resilience aspect has introduced us to different types of organizations that we haven't worked with before. So we still need a lot of introductions. We need to flesh out the ecosystem that we're trying to build out. So those are the two ways that the board can help us directly.
Please forward to me by mail, courier, or by staff the flyer, which describes how the process works, one. And secondly, as I mentioned to you, there's some things that I've requested, like the resiliency. I haven't received that. And the final packet, or the final draft of it, the final of that, as well as some things I've asked from the consultant. But good luck and much success to you and our organization.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Brown. We'll get that information to you on the programs. We're putting the final touches on the marketing materials, and then the resilience plan. The final draft actually just came out a few days ago. So we'll get that one to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, that said, I guess it sounds like, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you for everybody.
All right, guys, thanks.
See you,
Thank you,
Steve.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.